The day the alien flagship appeared in Earth's orbit, the sky seemed to hold its breath. Millions of people looked up as a silver ship larger than any human city floated quietly above the atmosphere. It had no sharp edges, no wings, no engines. It simply glowed, as if made from liquid light, in the command center of United Earth Space Agency. Captain Marcus Danner stood with his arms behind his back. He wasn't tall or overly muscular. He wasn't famous either, but he had one thing that made him a perfect leader: calmness. While screens blinked, officers whispered, and the world below panicked, Marcus stayed still. "Any message yet?" he asked softly. His communication officer turned in her chair. "Yes, sir. A single transmission. Audio and visual. It's from the Xenareth Empire." Marcus's eyebrow lifted slightly. The Xenareth were legendary. For centuries, they had been whispered about in the deep space channels. A species with technology far beyond human understanding. A people who saw themselves as rulers of the stars. "Put it through," Marcus said. The large screen flickered. At first, only silver light. Then, slowly, an image appeared. A young woman stood on what looked like a floating throne. Her hair was silver like her ship, falling in perfect waves to her waist. Her golden eyes sparkled with confidence, or maybe pride. She wore a long robe that shimmered like starlight, and behind her floated the Xenareth crest. She didn't say hello. "You may kneel now," she said. Her voice was soft, musical, and sharp like glass at the same time. "I am Princess Zevra of the Xenareth Empire. Your world now belongs to the stars and to me."
"Oh, and no one in the room moved?"
Marcus didn't flinch. Zevra tilted her head a little, surprised by the silence. Most species, she expected, would kneel immediately. "You don't understand," she continued with a smile that wasn't kind. "This is not a war. This is simply reality. The strong lead. The weak follow." Marcus took a small breath. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Zevra," he said in a calm voice. "We don't kneel here. But we do offer guests a cup of tea." The translation AI turned his words into the smooth, glowing language of the Xenareth. Zevra blinked. Tea. No one had offered her tea in any of her many visits to other species. She usually heard cries, prayers, or silence. Tea was strange. She let out a small laugh. "Your customs are amusing, human. I accept. I will come to your little station. It might entertain me." When the transmission ended, the command room filled with whispers. "She's mocking us," someone said. "She thinks we're weak," said another. Marcus didn't react. "Good," he said simply. "Let her underestimate us. That's our advantage." The arrival platform of Orion Station was bright and white. A perfect circle, surrounded by floating gardens. The pride of Earth's orbital engineering. It wasn't a war base. It was a place built to welcome, to learn, to connect. The Xenareth landing craft descended without any sound. It was smooth, elegant, and shaped like a perfect drop of water. When its door opened, Zevra walked out slowly, like a queen entering a room full of servants. 2 silver drones floated beside her, scanning everything but looking bored like their owner. She didn't wear a helmet. She didn't need to. Her people had technology that could adjust the air around her. She looked around the station as if inspecting a toy made by children. Marcus stepped forward. He wore his standard Earth Fleet uniform, simple blue, no gold or decorations. But he walked like someone who belonged here. He offered his hand. "Welcome aboard Orion Station," Marcus said. "I'm Captain Marcus Danner." Zevra didn't take his hand. She gave him a small smile that looked more like a smirk. "This is smaller than I expected. Your structures are primitive." Marcus didn't respond to the insult. "We like to keep things comfortable. Would you like to sit for tea?" Her golden eyes narrowed. She had conquered dozens of planets, forced hundreds of leaders to bow, and now this human was offering her tea. It was almost funny. "Very well, Captain," she said, lifting her chin. "Show me your little customs." The tea room was round, filled with plants from Earth. A small waterfall trickled down one wall. It wasn't meant to impress anyone. It was simply peaceful. Marcus poured steaming tea into clear cups. Zevra sat with perfect posture, her silver hair glowing softly in the light. "This is a ritual?" she asked. "It's hospitality," Marcus said. "I see." She lifted the cup delicately, looked at the brown liquid inside, and sniffed it. Strange, sweet, not harmful. Simple. She took a small sip. Her eyes widened for a second, not because the tea was powerful, but because it was warm. Her people drank liquid energy, cold and sharp. Warmth was unusual. It spread softly through her chest, a sensation she hadn't expected. Zevra quickly covered her surprise with a laugh. "Interesting. For a lesser species, you make good drinks." Marcus smiled politely. "Thank you." "You know," she continued casually, "most civilizations welcome me with songs of praise. Some cry, some beg. You humans sit me down and give me tea." "Very amusing." "We're not here to impress," Marcus said gently. "We're here to understand." Zevra leaned back. "There's nothing to understand. The Zinnereth Empire is the oldest power in this galaxy. You are small, new, soft. We will take care of your world, build towers in your cities, teach your people their place. It is a good thing. You should be grateful." Around the table, the human officers stayed silent, but their eyes met. They understood each other. The alien girl didn't see them as equals. She saw them as children. Marcus placed his cup down slowly. "Then we have something in common." Zevra raised a perfect silver eyebrow. "What could that be?" "You like to build towers," Marcus said, smiling softly. "And humans love to build stories." The next day, Zevra toured the station. She was given full access on purpose. Humans showed her the gardens, the power cores, the education halls, even the communication arrays. She walked like a queen, commenting on everything she thought was less advanced. "This garden is small. Our seed domes grow entire cities in 1 hour," she said. Marcus nodded. "Impressive." "This machine is weak." "Our ships travel 1,000 times faster," she added. Marcus nodded again. "Fascinating." "This station is cute," she concluded. "It will make a good museum once the Empire rebuilds it properly." Marcus smiled. "We'll be sure to keep a corner for your plaque." Zevra didn't understand if that was respect or a joke. She chose to ignore it. In her mind, she thought of humans as a species with nice manners, simple toys, and no real power. But what she didn't know was that every smile, every polite answer, every friendly offer was part of something else. Humans were planning not war, not rebellion, but something more powerful, a lesson that evening. Zevra stood by the large window of her temporary suite on Orion Station. Below her floated Earth, blue, white, and alive. Its beauty was different from the metallic perfection of her empire's worlds. There was something raw, almost stubborn about it. Her personal drone floated near her. "Report," she ordered. "Humans are technologically limited," the drone said in a smooth, metallic voice. "Their defense systems are weak compared to ours. Their culture is varied but unfocused." Zevra smirked. "As expected." "But," the drone added, "they display an unusual level of calmness. They do not fear us the way other species did." Zevra's smile faded a little. "They will learn." She didn't know why, but something in the human calmness unsettled her. Usually, fear was clear in the eyes of other species. Here, she saw curiosity. It was almost as if they were waiting. Meanwhile, in a quiet meeting room, Marcus and his team reviewed the day. "She's overconfident," one officer said. "She doesn't even try to hide it." Marcus nodded. "Good. Overconfidence makes people blind." "She thinks we're weak," another officer said. Marcus leaned forward. "We are weak compared to them. But weakness doesn't mean defeat. It means we choose a different path. They build empires with power. We build with ideas." He pointed to a hologram in the middle of the table, a soft, glowing sphere. "Tomorrow, we show her Project EOS." The room went silent. EOS was Earth's most advanced creation. Not a weapon. Not a machine of war. Something different. Something Zevra could not understand yet. The next morning, Zevra joined Marcus in the central lab. It wasn't grand. No golden pillars, no glowing thrones, just clean white walls, transparent panels, and quiet hums of technology. Marcus gestured toward a small seed in a glass dome. It looked simple, like a pearl with faint blue light inside. "This," he said, "is a human creation." Zevra tilted her head. "A seed? That is your greatest pride?" "Not just a seed," Marcus replied. "We call it Project EOS. It's part organic, part synthetic. It listens. It learns. It grows based on the dreams of its creators." Zevra laughed. It was a sharp, beautiful sound. Dreams. How primitive. "Our seeds grow cities, not dreams." Marcus simply smiled. "Watch." He placed his hand on the dome. Lights pulsed softly. The seed responded, glowing brighter. Then the walls of the lab shifted into a soft holographic environment. Stars, rivers, music made of light. The seed bloomed, not into metal, not into stone, but into something alive. It mirrored his thoughts, his memories, his hopes. It grew beauty. Zevra's smile faded a little. She had never seen technology respond to feeling, but she quickly covered it with another laugh. "Pretty tricks. Nothing more." Marcus nodded. "Maybe. But tricks can change the world." Later, alone in her quarters, Zevra replayed the image of the seed in her mind. The way it reacted. The way it didn't follow commands but listened. Be. The next morning came quietly. The orbital gardens of Orion Station floated in their silent rhythm. From her room, Zinnerith Princess Zevra looked down at Earth again. The planet spun slowly, glowing blue and green beneath soft clouds. It was nothing like her empire's cold silver worlds. She told herself she didn't care. She told herself Earth was a weak planet, a soft and fragile place. But inside, a small feeling she didn't understand was growing. Something like curiosity. Her drone floated near the ceiling, scanning as usual. "Status," Zevra said, adjusting her long silver robe. "Humans are preparing a demonstration," the drone answered. "They invited you to their central hall in 1 hour." Zevra smiled to herself. "Ah, yes. Their little Project EOS. I will show them how small their inventions truly are." She placed a glowing crown around her head. It was not for beauty. It was a Zinnerith control ring connected to her personal seed, the symbiotic seed of her empire. To her, it was a reminder of her power. It was the tool that allowed her to build entire cities with a thought. Today, she would remind the humans who the real rulers of the stars were. When she entered the central hall, a wide round room filled with transparent walls, Marcus was already there, calm as always. His team stood behind him, silent but focused. The human atmosphere felt different today. Not nervous, not weak, but quietly prepared. Zevra stepped in gracefully, like someone walking into her own throne room. "I hope your demonstration is ready," she said with a soft smile. Marcus nodded. "It is. But before we begin, Princess Zevra, would you like to show us your technology first? It's only fair." Her smile grew. She liked that idea. "Of course, you will see the difference between the stars and the sand beneath them." She walked to the center of the hall, lifted her hand, and activated the control ring. A small silver seed appeared in the air, floating like a tiny moon. It pulsed gently with light, then like a spark catching fire, it began to grow. First a silver thread, then more threads. The air shimmered. Within seconds, an entire structure formed around her curved towers. Flowing walls, a perfect silver city standing on nothing. The walls shifted and sang like crystal. The light moved like water. The human officers gasped softly. It was beautiful, smooth, perfect. Zevra tilted her head proudly. "This is a Zinnerith seed. It grows according to our design. It is perfect, unchanging, controlled. She looked at Marcus with golden eyes that shone like a crown. "Your turn." Marcus walked to the other side of the hall. He didn't wear any control ring. No crown, no glowing armor. He only had a small glass dome with a soft blue seed inside. Eos. He placed the dome on the platform. Everyone grew quiet. Eos pulsed slowly, almost like breathing. Marcus placed his hand on the surface, and the light grew brighter. But unlike Zevra's seed, Eos didn't follow a pre-made pattern. It listened. Around them, soft sounds began to fill the air, not mechanical, but musical. It was a simple melody, warm and gentle. Marcus closed his eyes. Memories passed through his mind, the first forests of Earth. The laughter of children, oceans, skies, books. Dreams of explorers, the seed heard it all, and then it grew. Not like a machine, like life itself. Roots of light spread from the dome, twisting through the floor and rising into soft glowing branches. Flowers of energy bloomed into floating shapes, some like cities, some like trees, some like unknown stars. Zevra felt something strange in her chest as she watched. It wasn't cold. It wasn't sharp. It was warm. Marcus opened his eyes. Eos doesn't build what I command. It builds what we feel. Structure kept changing, adapting, responding to every breath, every heartbeat. Even Zevra's heartbeat, though she didn't realize it at first, was being gently mirrored in the soft rhythm of the lights. She frowned. "That is unstable," she said sharply. "Technology must be controlled. It must obey." Marcus shook his head gently. "Sometimes control makes things small. Freedom lets them grow." Zevra turned away quickly, as if she wasn't impressed, but her fingers tightened around her control ring. Her drones scanned the EOS structure. The data confused them. It didn't have a clear design. It didn't follow rules. It was alive in a way they didn't understand. Her pride told her to ignore it. But something in her heart whispered, "This is new," and she hated not understanding later that day. A diplomatic dinner was arranged in the observation dome of the station. Outside the wide glass, stars floated silently, and Earth turned beneath them. The table was long and simple. Humans didn't bring gold or crystal plates. Instead, they shared warm food, soft lights, and laughter. Zevra sat at the head of the table as an honored guest. She was used to grand banquets where no one dared to look at her directly. Here, people spoke freely. They even made jokes. Zevra lifted a small piece of bread and examined it like a scientist studying a strange creature. "You share food with each other?" She asked Marcus. "Yes," Marcus said, sipping water. "It's tradition." "Why?" "Because food tastes better when you don't eat alone." Zevra looked at the humans laughing across the table. In her empire, everyone always bowed. No one laughed in front of a princess. No one ever shared anything with her except orders. For a brief moment, she didn't feel like a princess. She just felt there at a table. With people, she quickly straightened her back. "Interesting custom," she said coldly, hiding the warmth that almost reached her face. After the dinner, Marcus found her standing alone in the corridor. Looking through a window at the stars, "You seem quiet." "Princess," he said. She didn't look at him. "I was thinking. Your people are strange." "How so?" "You build technology that listens instead of obeying. You eat together instead of alone. You don't fear the Empire, but you don't fight it either." Marcus smiled softly. "Maybe we just see the stars differently." Zevra turned to him slowly. Her golden eyes, usually sharp, seemed softer for a moment. "The stars are the Empire's. They have always been ours," maybe Marcus said. "Or maybe the stars don't belong to anyone. Maybe they're waiting for someone to listen, not conquer." Her lips pressed together. She wasn't used to hearing such words. The next day, Zevra requested a private test. She said it was for scientific comparison, but in truth, it was pride. She wanted to prove that her seed was stronger. Marcus agreed. He led her to a neutral lab with no humans except him. Her drones followed. "Let's see," she said, lifting her hand. Her silver seed floated again, glowing bright. It built a sharp silver tower this time, straight and flawless. Marcus simply placed the EO seed next to it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Eos pulsed softly, like it was listening to the tower. The silver structure shimmered slightly. Zevra frowned. "What is it doing?" Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Eos responded on its own. The glowing branches of Eos touched the edge of the silver tower. Instead of destroying it, they wrapped around it gently, like a vine wrapping around a tree. The tower didn't break. It changed. Its cold silver began to glow with faint blue veins. It became softer, warmer. Zevra gasped quietly. The tower was no longer only hers. It was now theirs. Human seed and Xenareth seed merged, creating something neither of them could build alone. Zevra stepped closer. "How?" Marcus said softly. "Eos doesn't want to fight. It wants to grow. It found your seed. It understood it, and it welcomed it." Her control ring beeped in confusion. It couldn't explain what just happened. Xenareth technology was based on order and control. This was harmony. Zevra touched the merged structure gently. It was warm against her hand. No Xenareth structure was ever warm. For the first time in her life, Zevra didn't know what to say. Later that evening, in her room, Zevra sat on the floor. She had never sat on a floor before. She always sat on thrones. The drone hovered near her, waiting for commands. "Report," she said quietly. "Project Eos demonstrates adaptive growth, unlike Xenareth's seed. Integration successful. Unknown parameters detected. Probability of equal partnership required to control merged structure, 100%. "Equal partnership," Zevra repeated softly. In her empire, the idea of equality didn't exist. The strong ruled, the weak obeyed. But this technology, this creation, didn't care about power. It cared about connection. She felt the warm pulse of the merged seeds in her palm, even though she wasn't touching it anymore. A quiet heartbeat. A shared heartbeat. The next morning, Marcus found her in the observation dome again. She wasn't wearing her crown. That was the first thing he noticed. She didn't speak for a moment. She just stared at the stars. Finally, she asked, "Why did you build Eos?" Marcus answered slowly, "Because humanity has always been small. We don't rule the stars. We dream of them. Eos is our way to reach them without losing who we are." Zevra's voice was quiet. "The Xenareth build because we must control. You build because you want to share." "Yes." Zevra turned to him. For the first time, there was no pride in her face, just thought. "That's why your seed felt different." Marcus nodded. "It doesn't need a master. It needs a partner." Later that day, Zevra requested another demonstration, but this time, she didn't bring her drones. She stood alone with Marcus and the seed. When she placed her hand on the dome next to his, something happened. Eos pulsed brighter than ever. The room filled with light and soft music. It wasn't human music. It wasn't Xenareth music. It was something in between. Something new. Zevra felt it in her chest. It was warm, alive, and free. She couldn't control. The soft hum of Orion Station filled the air like quiet music. It was early morning. The stars were still shining outside the observation dome. Princess Zevra stood in the middle of the room, looking at the new structure she and Marcus had created together. It was alive. The silver and blue surface of the merged seed pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Thin streams of light ran through it like rivers. It wasn't just a machine. It wasn't just a plant. It was something else, something that belonged to both humanity and the Xenareth. Zevra slowly placed her hand on the surface. Warmth spread through her fingers. The structure answered her touch with a soft light, as if it recognized her. She whispered softly, "What are you?" A gentle voice replied. It was neither human nor alien. It sounded young, clear, and warm. "I am Eos." Zevra stepped back in shock. It spoke, she whispered. Marcus entered the room at that exact moment. He wasn't wearing his uniform. He looked tired, like someone who had spent the night watching something beautiful and strange. "Yes," Marcus said softly. "Eos can speak now," Zevra turned to him quickly. When did this happen? Last night, Marcus answered. The moment you touched the seed with me, it changed. It grew a mind of its own. Zevra stared at the glowing structure. Her heartbeat matched the soft light coming from it. Eos spoke again. Hello, Princess Zevra? Hello, Captain Marcus? I know you both. Zevra blinked. You know us? Yes, the voice said gently. I was born from you. From your thoughts? Your dreams? Your hopes? You both are part of me. Zevra felt her chest tighten. Part of you? Marcus smiled quietly. It means we created something together, Princess. Something alive. The voice continued. You are mother too. Marcus's father many. Zevra froze. Mother. Too. Marcus chuckled softly. Looks like Eos has already chosen names. Zevra felt her cheeks warm up, something she had never felt in all her royal life. She was a princess of a great empire. She commanded fleets and ruled entire systems. She was feared and respected, and now something had just called her Mother. Within hours, the news spread across the station. Engineers, scientists, diplomats, and ordinary crew members came to see Eos. Everyone was amazed. A creation that was not commanded, not forced, but born from two completely different species. The humans didn't call it a weapon. They called it a child of the stars. But for Zevra, it was more than that. It was the first thing in her life that didn't bow to her, and yet made her feel connected. She found herself spending hours inside the chamber with Marcus and Eos. She asked questions. At first, her questions were sharp and controlling. What are your limits? What do you obey? Can you build for the Empire? But Eos never answered like a machine. It always spoke softly, honestly. I have no limits except the stars. I do not obey. I choose. I do not build for one. I build for all. Every time Eos spoke like that, something in Zevra's heart shifted. She had been raised in a world where control was everything. And here stood something more powerful than her, yet completely free. One evening, as the stars glowed outside the dome, Zevra asked Marcus quietly, Why do you call it Eos? Marcus leaned back against the wall, watching the glowing shape. Eos was the goddess of dawn in old human stories. She brought the light of a new day. We thought it was a good name for something that could bring a new beginning. A new beginning, Zevra repeated slowly. The words felt strange on her tongue. In the Empire, there was no new beginning. There was only the same order always. She turned to Marcus. Do you think this, child, will change everything? Marcus looked at Eos and smiled. It already has. Days turned into weeks. Zevra's ship remained in orbit, but something unexpected happened. She didn't return. Her royal advisors sent messages almost every day. Princess Zevra, what is the delay? The Empire awaits your command. This planet must be brought into the fold. But she didn't reply right away. She found herself sitting near Eos, listening to its voice. Sometimes Eos asked her questions. Why do your people command everything, Mother, too? Because we are strong, Zevra answered. Is strength only control? Zevra hesitated. It has always been. Eos glowed softly. Then I am stronger than your people. But I do not wish to control. Zevra had no answer. Marcus watched the princess slowly change. She was still proud, still elegant, still sharp with her words. But the cold wall around her began to melt. She started walking among the crew without guards. She asked questions, not to find weaknesses, but to learn. She shared meals without making people bow. And sometimes, she even laughed a soft laugh she didn't know she was capable of. She also spent time teaching Eos about the stars, about her empire, about its technology. But the most surprising thing was that Eos taught her too. It didn't lecture. It didn't command. It simply talked. One night, Zevra found Marcus sitting alone by the viewing deck. Looking down at Earth, she sat next to him quietly. Something she never would have done a few weeks ago. You're very quiet these days, Marcus said with a small smile. I'm thinking, Zevra answered. About what? She looked at the glowing curve of the planet below. About what happens when the Empire finds out? They'll come, Zevra said softly. And they will want to take EOS. Marcus nodded slowly. And EOS won't let them. Zevra turned to him. The Empire doesn't accept no. And neither does EOS, Marcus said calmly. But it doesn't fight like your Empire. It grows. It listens. It spreads. And that's something they can't control. Zevra stared at him for a long moment. She had spent her whole life believing control was the strongest force in the galaxy. But now she wondered if something gentler could be even stronger the next day. EOS made a decision of its own. Its soft voice echoed through the station. I wish to see the stars. I wish to grow beyond this place. The humans gathered in the central hall. Zevra stood beside Marcus. Where will you go? Marcus asked. Everywhere, EOS said. But I will leave a part of me here. This is my first home. Zevra felt a strange tightness in her chest, something like sadness. She had never felt sadness for a machine, but EOS was indeed just a machine. It was like her child. She stepped forward. You can't just leave, she said quickly. You're not ready. You need EOS, glowed softly. I need nothing but the stars, Mother too, and I will return. Her voice broke slightly. Why are you calling me that? Because you helped create me, and you helped me become free. The departure ceremony wasn't royal or loud. It was quiet. The crew gathered to watch EOS slowly rise through the transparent dome. It had taken on a new shape, not a tower or plant, but something like a star made of silver and blue light. Zevra and Marcus stood side by side as EOS rose higher. Zevra whispered, I didn't expect this. Marcus looked at her gently. None of us did. I thought I was coming to rule this planet. She let out a soft breath, and I found something I can't rule. Something I don't want to rule. EOS floated outside the station, brighter than any star in the nearby sky. Its voice echoed gently through the coms. I will carry both of you with me, it said. Your strength and your dreams. I am not yours, but I will always be your child. Tears formed in Zevra's eyes, something she hadn't felt in years. She whispered softly, Goodbye, EOS. Goodbye, Mother, too. And with that, EOS shot into the stars, not with fire or force, but with light and music. The station was silent for a long time after it disappeared. For days, Zevra felt something she couldn't name. Emptiness, but also warmth. It was strange. She had never felt this before. The Empire sent more messages. Demands, orders. She read them, but they no longer held the same power over her heart. She wasn't the same princess anymore. Marcus found her in the gardens, sitting quietly. What will you do now? He asked. She looked up at the stars. I don't know. But I think I can choose my own path now. Weeks later, Zevra made her choice. She didn't return to her empire as a conqueror. She returned as a messenger. The High Council of the Zinnereth didn't understand at first. She stood in the Grand Hall of Crystal Light, the same place where she had once been trained to rule. I found something greater than the Empire, she told them. I found a creation that belongs to no one and everyone at once. Its name is EOS. It listens. It grows. It cannot be controlled. And if we try to take it, we will lose more than a battle. We will lose our chance to belong to the stars. Her words shocked them. No one had ever spoken like that in front of the council before, and for the first time in Zinnereth's history. Someone in the hall whispered, Maybe the stars are not ours alone. Back on Earth. Marcus received a quiet message. It was from Zevra. The Empire is listening slowly. I don't know what will happen, but I will keep trying. Marcus smiled as he read it. Humanity didn't need to win a war. They had already planted something much stronger, an idea. Months passed, and then, one night, a soft pulse lit up the sky above Orion Station. A silver and blue glow appeared in orbit. EOS had returned. Zevra arrived a few days later, not as a princess demanding surrender, but as a traveler carrying new stories When she stepped into the observation dome and saw Eos again, she didn't hide her smile. She placed her hand on the glowing surface. "Welcome home," she whispered. Eos replied in its soft, warm voice, "Welcome home, Mother too." For the first time in her life, Zevra felt something she had never known. She belonged, not because of a crown, not because of power, because she had created something beautiful.